I think that's the beauty about Book Week, is that the fun of Book Week is that it's so universal. It doesn't discriminate against ages. And I think the reason we've come back to teachers a little bit on this topic is if you've got teachers who are happy to be teaching and are enjoying being in the workspace and getting excited about Book Week, that is what the kids pick up on. And that's what the whole underpinning of the vibe at your school becomes, is this excitement and this build and this celebration of reading.
Kids are always on board 110%, which is why we need to make the most of events like this.
Yes. So if you are that teacher and you're like, you know what, I'm going to drag Book Week out. I'm going to do, as we would say in the business world, a pre-launch into Book Week. And like the week before, 2 weeks before, you're building up to the grand finale, the celebration. Go for it. If you want to dress up every day of Book Week, do it. Do not hold back. Be you, be your authentic self, and people will appreciate it.
Rainbow Sky Creations acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that we record this podcast on, the Dharawal and Whadjuk Noongar people. We pay our respects to their elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures.
Welcome to Rainbow Skies for Teachers. It's Alicia here, and I've got the lovely Ashley, and we're just so glad you stopped by.
We are so glad. You could listen to any podcast and you've chosen our podcast, and we love that.
That we do. It's our favourite time when we catch up together and we get to just have a good chin wag about things to do with education. Even though we may not be in the classroom any longer, this is the next best thing for Ashley and I to feel like we're still connected and part of that teaching community. And we've got a topic here that only happens once a year and is probably up there as one of my favourites of the year when I was teaching the classroom. What about you, Ash?
Yeah, I really liked it because I love the excitement and that buzz around reading. So we're going to be talking about Book Week in this episode. Now, if you're listening from other parts of the world and you don't know what Book Week is, let us give you a little explanation. Before we do that, though, you could use any of these activities to celebrate books and reading. It doesn't need to be around Book Week. So,
exactly correct. And I know in different parts in America and other parts of the world, I'm sure, have a celebration of books for a week or for a day. And this
they
is
have World Book Day in America. That's at the beginning of the year. But I wonder about Europe, and we've got listeners from the UK and listeners from Ireland and listeners from South Africa. So if you live in another place and you celebrate books in a particular way, let us know. We would love to actually know.
Yeah, I'm doing some Googling. It looks like UK might celebrate it in March, similar to the beginning of the year. I think it aligns with World Book Day. An introduction to Belgian literature. Well, there's lots of things you can find when you Google for Europe. So this is what we're going to do.
What is Book Week? Let's just get back to what Book Week is. So let's stop our live Googling.
We will. It is a magical time of the year. Note to self, your local library will light up during the month and week of Book Week, and it brings stories to life and ignites a passion for reading in students of all ages. Look, it's really a fantastic time to celebrate the joy of books and the adventures they hold. Fun fact, I have to read every night before I go to bed just to switch my brain off from life, and I couldn't do a day without reading. I love it.
I do love it too. Hey, I've got a reading story I need to tell you. This is probably something I could have told you on the phone away from the podcast, but I'm not going to. So years ago, everybody, I went to a secondhand book sale. I went with my girlfriend Karen. We drove a long way to go there. It was apparently going to be Sydney's biggest secondhand book sale. So off we go, went looking around for books, and we couldn't really find any that we really loved, that we were drawn to, but we spent a long time sort of browsing and looking because we both love reading. I overheard this girl, because I'm a people watcher. I love watching people, kind of listening in, seeing what they do. There was lots of interesting people watching at this event. I overheard this young girl saying to her friend, "Oh, this book, this is my best read that I've read all year. It's awesome. It's like, it is a must read. It's a little dark in some areas, but like a great, great read." Anyway, the friend went, "Oh, okay." The friend was not interested in this girl's suggestion. She put the book down and I looked over and I picked it up and I thought, I'm going to read this book. So I bought it and I brought it home and I just couldn't bring myself to read it. You know those books that you have sitting on the shelf and you think, oh, like when you run out of a book, you go and get the next one. And just this one, it just never jumped back out at me to read. And so I I thought, look, I'm going to get rid of it when I was doing a clean out, and I went and donated it to one of the local book libraries. The next day, Alicia says, I just finished a great book that I think that you will like called Honeybee. And I said to her, you'll never believe it. I told her this whole story. I've just donated it to the book library. I'm going to go and walk down there and see if it's still there. Well, I went back and the book was gone. So I thought, what a shame. That book will come back to me. Now, I think you read Honeybee a couple of years ago.
Yeah, a while ago.
That book just came back to me this week. My mum came into my house. She's like, I've got a book I want you to read. It's called Honeybee. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I'm currently reading that and I'm loving it.
Well, there you go. The adventure of a book that took you on for years and you finally get to read it. So I think that is what Book Week is about. It is about celebrating books. And I think it's like you get an inside world into what is interesting, what is piquing your students' interests and also your colleagues, because it is in Australia a permission to dress up as your favourite Book Week character. That is usually the finale of Book Week. Some teachers like to dress every day of Book Week. I was never that committed, but usually the last day is when you have an assembly or a form of parade where students bring in their books dressed up as their characters and they share why they've chosen that book. And yeah, it's just the best. The bee's knees. I love it.
Yes, we have dress up ideas because sometimes that's really tricky to come up with ideas. I know there's a picture of me looking far younger, dressed up as the very hungry caterpillar all over Pinterest, and it comes from our blog post with loads of dress-up ideas. So, Alicia, let's make sure that that is linked in the show notes. So if teachers want ideas to dress up, they can. And
yes,
if you've got an old Where's Wally or Where's Waldo, if you live in another part of the world, stripy T-shirt, and you think, well, I've already done Where's Wally, we've actually created a blog post where you can use that T-shirt for other characters in other books.
Yes.
We'll link that too. So if you've got that, use what you've already got. And there's some costume ideas. But we're not going to talk about costume ideas. We're going to talk about ideas of things you can do in the classroom to celebrate Book Week or to celebrate reading. These would be great as like reading group activities as well, or just general activities in the classroom.
Yes. So let's get you started with Playbook Detectives. So this is a great one to use in the library, or if you've got a very extensive class library, you can use it as well. Students need to look for books and find ones that fit into certain categories. So books with an interesting cover, a book about friendship, a book that teaches the reader something about a fairy tale. There are different prompts and the students are to find a book that matches that category or prompt.
Yeah, this is a really fun one. And it kind of gets them, if you're using your school library, it gets them exploring through the library.
Yes. And it's one where, you know, the interesting book cover, right? It's like that could be very interpretive in terms of, you know, what yours might be compared to others. And it's just a really great way to be building on students' conversation skills as well. All those elements of speaking and listening that we have to tick as teachers for the outcomes.
Another little way you could put a spin on this book detective is you could choose one or two students to choose a mystery book while you're doing this activity, wrap it up or put it in a brown paper bag so no one can see it, and give clues and then eventually reveal it and read it to your class. That's another fun way of getting into this detective mode.
Yeah, absolutely. Go check it out. Book Detectives. It's a really fun one. You can get the kids there maybe coming up with their own questions and, you know, or their own version of this, and you play it later in the week. So there's ample ways to leverage this kind of activity.
Yeah, you could even, like, as you're saying that, I'm like, you could even get your grade 3s or grade 4s to create the book detectives for your grade 1s and 2s and make it like a cross-school activity.
Yes. And then I was like, you could get like the staff involved. And you know how people do displays in like the staff room? And a little display of like, what's your favourite story about animals? And it might be, you know, they might be like, oh, I always loved Charlotte's Web or whatever it might be. It's just a really nice conversation starter. It could be even a prompt you put on your staff room table where people are chatting about it at lunchtime or in the morning. So,
yeah. Teachers love talking about books. Like I would be telling my honeybee story.
There you go. You would.
Yes.
I don't know what story I'd tell you, but it would be something semi-riveting.
I love it. You know, another great thing to do for your staff, oh my gosh, we're so getting off track, but I did this at one school that I worked at when everyone really enjoyed reading, is we just set up a little book swap.
Oh, we did that too.
It was great because then eventually people started reading the same books and then there was conversations about books and it was really fun.
I think that's the beauty about Book Week is that the fun of Book Week is that it's so universal. It doesn't discriminate against ages. And I think the reason we've come back to teachers a little bit on this topic is if you've got teachers who are happy to be teaching and are enjoying being in the workspace and getting excited about Book Week, that is what the kids pick up on. And that's what the whole underpinning of the vibe at your school becomes, is this excitement and this build and this celebration of reading. So you get the teachers on board, you get the staff on board, the kids are going to come along. It's kind of like a little piper scenario.
Yeah, it's contagious. I love it.
So
Okay.
our next one.
Our next idea is a craft because we love a craft and kids love a craft too. So it's creating book covers, but like I'm sure we've all given kids a sheet of paper with a book cover and said, create your own cover. This is different. And when we came up with this idea, it was because I was giving my kids breakfast and it was chaotic. And we had leftover cereal boxes. So what we were doing is we folded out the cereal box and I said to them, like, let's use this to create something on it. I don't know. I was just trying to find something for them to do so they would stop hassling me at breakfast time. But then I worked out that if you take apart a cereal box and then cut off the top and the bottom, it looks like the shape of a book with a little spine in the middle.
Oh,
so
perfect.
then what we did was we recreated our favourite books on the back of these cereal boxes. You need to go to the blog to see this amazing one that my daughter created. It was Pig the Fibber. We love the Pig the Pug books. Like, I mean, they're the best. And she created the cover, she did the blurb on the back, she even did the spine, and it was just a really fun way. I'm thinking back now, we did this a couple of years ago, but neighbours came in, they all did one. Like, I had a whole heap of these book covers in my house made of old cereal boxes.
Your front wall of your home, your garage door became the street art gallery of Book Week.
Yes. So they could create their own, like they could recreate one. They could do one of a book that they recommend. They could do a favourite family book. They could redesign their own cover. Like there's so many different ways. We have shortlisted books for Book Week, so you could do the shortlisted books. But also what I really like is the cereal boxes, because they're like the net and you're taking off the extra sides. You can stick them on the wall and they kind of a bit 3D. It's fun.
It's clever, really, really clever. I'm putting that on my to-do list at home with my little humans. They will love that and I will love it too. So get your kids collecting cereal boxes and don't tell them why they're collecting cereal boxes. And I reckon their little minds will be blown when they cut off the other side and the top and the bottom and go, oh my God, it's like a book.
Yes. You know what we will do is let's link the reel that we created that shows you exactly how to do it. Because I think that this is like, you've got to kind of imagine it in your mind. Oh, we'll link that so people can click on it and be like, oh, I see exactly how this works.
Yeah. STEM meets Book Week.
Bam.
Perfect pair.
Magic.
Next one. Oh, I am a sucker for this sort of activity. So my youngest daughter is so into her aesthetics. She's my one who gets the right outfits together, color combinations, goes around complimenting everyone that they look beautiful, and give her we did a few long haul flights when she was little and would give her a tablet, but she would just play with the emojis for ages. And she will still know now how to get the emojis up on my phone. And she just goes through all the emojis. And it was around the time when like new emojis were coming up and she'd be like, oh, look, new one. And she'd be, you know, color matching the spewy mouth or like the little dresses or like the sports things. It was a whole mix. So why not take reading emojis and bring it into your classroom? So go with the concept of emojis, emotions, images with emotions, and how books make you feel. So ask students to think about books they have read and how they make them feel, and then record these feelings down as drawing as little emojis. So what books created made you think of love, or it was a bit boring, or there were parts of it that made you happy or confused, or it was silly or cheeky. It's just an interesting one to see what emotions are brought up in students, and as well their vocabulary of emotions. I feel like we're of a generation who know more about emotions than their parents and grandparents. So it's a good, I feel like we're doing a bit of holistic teaching here, because it's like Book Week meets your health lesson.
Yes.
Combined.
Maybe this is a common theme of this potty episode. How we can combine all of our different learning areas.
So it's an interesting one to do, and it gets kids drawing emojis. And maybe, like my daughter, you might start to just go onto other emojis that could represent that story. Or if you pick a title like Pig the Fibber, what emojis would you draw for that cover page?
Yeah.
Or I did an activity once with my year threes, and funnily enough, we were reading Charlotte's Web. It was our novel study. And I asked the kids to summarize the story, like writing a sentence or two and then convert those sentences to emojis. So like they were getting pictures of like spiders or webs or, the pig. And interesting to see how they interpreted the story and how they could summarize it with images and a short sentence.
Yeah.
It was fun. They loved it. I loved it.
It's a winner.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Emojis for the win.
Yeah. Everyone loves emojis, don't we? Some people probably hate them.
I don't know. What's your most used emoji?
Oh, I think it's like the face with the love hearts around it. Or no, the new one is this one. The like face.
Oh.
Where I'm like, oops.
You'd like looking like big eyes, hand over the mouth.
Yeah.
What's my most used emoji? I feel like I do use the rainbow a lot because I use that on social media, but that's a bit boring. I really love the one with the star eyes.
Oh, yes.
Or the one where the eyes are like wonky and the tongue's out.
Oh, yeah, I use that one way too much.
Going crazy.
Totally missed the connection on that one.
I'm opening up my emojis right now and I'm seeing that there's one with a ghost who's got swearing like blacked out over its mouth. And I'm like, I've never used that emoji. So obviously someone has been in my phone using crazy emojis.
Yes. There are some like interesting ones. I've got a whole bunch of religious symbols and flags. So obviously my daughter's been on the rampart on my iPad.
So everyone loves emojis.
Everyone loves emojis. It kind of goes back. You could incorporate a history lesson with this, right? Like into cave paintings, into hieroglyphics, into how people communicated back before there was like a universal, letter language. So, give me any excuse to add a drawing and I'm in.
All right. The next idea is a class reading challenge. Now, this doesn't sound exciting to start with, but kids love a challenge. So dedicate the week to work together as a team. And I think that's kind of an important part to begin with. An activity like this is going to be really great because it's going to expose students to different books, different countries, different continents, but it's also going to build your class community. So the idea is to choose a book from every continent and then read together as a class. You might like to locate the continents on a map or plot little images on your world map, but it really opens itself up to that student-led inquiry-based learning. Okay, so you choose a book from Australia, which is a great idea, one that we would be really familiar with, but then might choose a book from South Africa or North America.
Yes. And you could get so specific on this one. Say if any of our European friends are listening, you could be looking at a book from Great Britain, from Germany, from Poland, from Slovakia, from Hungary. There's a really ample opportunity to look into like folk tales and traditional stories. Gosh, this could become a theme of the year. Each week, we're going to read a book from another part of the world.
It really could. If you're listening to this from another country too, we would really recommend reading some of the amazing Australian stories. There's some fantastic ones out there. Some of our favourite authors, Mem Fox. Anything written by Mem Fox, M-E-M, and then Fox is going to be a goodie and teach you a little bit about Australian culture and what we do here.
Yeah, absolutely. And vice versa. Tell us if there's an amazing author out in your part of the world that we could read and enjoy a little slice of that country and their traditions. So it's a fun one. You could keep it down to continents. You could niche it down to specific countries in a continent, but it's a really fun one and just a really nice eye-opening one and getting kids thinking outside of their own little bubble of reading.
Absolutely. Okay, so you could actually lend that one and join it with this one. We love a 3D display.
And these were great ones that you created last year, Ash, that literally did take off.
They did take off. We've got a rocket. We created a couple because we couldn't decide on what we loved the best. So we created a rocket about blasting off into reading. Then we created a library card. Then we created a stack of books that said readers are leaders, something that we say all the time in my household. But basically, they have whatever item they're going to make. And then they answer prompts about reading. So they might be talking about different books, leading in from what we just spoke about different books from different countries. It might be a class book that you're talking about. There's lots of different prompts that's there and ready. It's a great reflection activity about reading, but it adds in that craft, a bit of fun, adds in that book week spirit in your classroom. 'Cause it's always great to have a display up that showcases the learning and the excitement that's happening.
It's just a really simplistic tool to have in terms of it could be something you start at the beginning of the week and you build up and you create it. And by like the third or fourth day, they're putting it together and you can have it up on display. And it's one of those displays that you can have all term round. And in all honesty, you could have it all year round if you're a bit lazy like me, where you'd be like, oh, I've been meaning to do that for about 5 months now, pull that display down.
Yes, you could definitely do that. This is where Alicia and I are so different because I always have new things up all the time, like new term, fresh things on the wall.
Yeah. New term, just we made it to the new term. Yeah. So that is a really great one where you're combining their literacy skills, their creativity, and it's an awesome display at the end of your lesson. All right, our next one. We're getting close to the end, my friends. Have a book tasting. So we've seen many amazing ways that people have done this on social media, but give the students a template, the best book I have read all year to complete. And you may want to invite them to bring in a copy of the book if they have it. Okay, if they don't. And once they've completed their recommendation, give students time to walk around and explore their peers' suggestions. So Ash has got an example here on the blog post of The Lion Inside. Maybe it is Charlotte's Web that somebody has. The students share the name of the book, they draw the cover, and then they explain why they loved that book. And it allows those students to go around and check out what books are interesting their peers, and it might spark an idea of, oh, I want to read that book. Or, Miss, can we read that book in class?
Yeah, it's just a fun way to open them up to different books that they might have read. We've seen like extravagant ways of doing this on Instagram where people put out tables and transfer it
Canapes.
into an Italian restaurant. Yes, canapes and flowers and all the things. You don't need to do that. You can if you want to, but you don't need to do that. You can keep it really simple and just say, look, we're doing a book tasting. Write what your favourite book is. You could do it as the staff. You could get the staff members around the school to bring them around during the lesson. Can you deliver the best book you've read this year to my classroom so my kids can see that we are all reading and that we really enjoy it too? Like it can be a really fun way of getting that community together.
At one of my schools, we had big display boards on the outside of our classrooms because we were like a quadrangle, so it was undercover, so we could have work displayed outside. And this is what I would put outside my classroom. So when kids are walking by break time or, you know, they're trying to get away from that annoying friend, they could have a read and see what other kids are enjoying and be like, oh, wow, that person likes the same books as me. That's cool. Yeah. So book tasting.
You know what, as you were saying that just came to mind. You know, when you go to the library or even the bookstore and it's like staff recommended reads?
Yes.
Like in your school library, you could have like year one's recommended reads and then a couple of kids choose a book and it might be like Alicia's favourite, Oscar's favourite. Like that would be fun, wouldn't it?
I feel like a librarian, if you're listening, like you could make it that for term 1, the year 6s and year 4s do their recommended reads. And then in term 2, the year 3s, and then by term 4, your little ones are probably a bit better at their writing skills. But it could become a bit of a theme, or it's like put in if you want to do a recommended read and a lucky draw. Tommy, Jesse, Ahmed, you get to be the ones who share your recommended reads of the week.
Yeah, it's fun. Another little like side note idea is my daughter loves writing and she wrote a book last year. And she not only wrote the book, but then we illustrated it and we put it all together into a little book. And she took it to school to show her teacher. And then they said, you have to go and show Miss Tout, who teaches in the library. So she did. And Miss Tout said to her, go and make me another copy of this book because this is obviously your copy and it's very special, but I want to put it in the library for other children to read and to borrow. And I was like, what? She came home on cloud 9 and I've since been in the library and her book's not the only book that's there. There's a couple of others that kids have written, but like I think that's great. What a great way to encourage little writers.
Yeah, absolutely. Officially, it's a published book. It's being read by others.
Yes. She is an author.
Where's my royalty? 5 cents a read.
Exactly. We are going to end on a bang on a really fun one.
Oh, it is. I think you converted a whole community into loving this activity, didn't you, Ash?
Yes. Not only that, I was on the news in Wagga Wagga. I was on the country news. Actually, I got an email from a journalist in Wagga Wagga and said, can I interview you about this idea? And I was like, of course. And then I messaged her and said, like, what do I need it was a video call. Do I need a background or wear something specific? She was like, no. But then they actually filmed it and put me on the TV. And I wish I had some makeup on. But it's a Where's Wally? So this actually started back in COVID. We were living in a unit by the beach. And so we printed out all of these different pictures of Where's Wally or Where's Waldo if you live in the other parts of the world. And we stuck them all around our local park, but also down the street where we lived. So my kids, who were only very little at the time, could stand on the balcony and watch everybody look for Wally. It was a really great thing to keep everybody busy during COVID. And some of the local cafes and things got involved and said that it was fine to put it up in their window just to get people excited about it. But this is a very basic, nothing fancy, a free printable that you can just go and grab and print it out. There is one of Wally on a toilet, which many people have gotten cranky about over the years. Look, we're just trying to have a little bit of fun.
Oh, come on. We're playing with kids.
If you don't like the toilet one, leave it out. But you stick up Wally around your school, kids to go and find him. It is so much fun.
Oh, it is. I actually was at our local library yesterday with my kids, and for the school holidays, they'd put up a little treasure hunt, not with Where's Wally, but with birds. So you could, in theory, pick any specific theme. My daughter's into Minecraft at the moment. You could go with whatever it might be. It could be actually in your older grades of famous authors, and the authors' heads are popping up at us.
Or even teachers.
Yes.
Teachers in your school.
Oh yeah, print out those staff photos. Come up with a reason to use them. This is your reason to use them.
Yeah, there's lots of fun different things you can do with this, but it creates that literacy magic with the kids in your school and everyone. It creates a buzz and it's a lot of fun.
And that's what Book Week's all about, celebrating the love and the fun of reading. So if you have liked these ideas, we have linked all of them in our show notes. I believe, is Where's Wally, Where's Waldo one for free? Is that a free link we have?
It is a free link, so that will be in the show notes. For sure.
So we also have a blog post which even goes into some more details and Book Week packs. So if you find you've got reluctant readers in your class, this could be your gateway of just really getting them on board and just celebrating and loving it and just having a good time and not making it pressurized of writing perfectly, reading perfectly, understanding all the questions, just loving the story and the adventure that books bring.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's a wrap.
That is absolutely a wrap.
Thanks so much for chatting about reading so much. I love this topic.
It's a good one. Any fun special event, I'm all on board. 110%.
But you know what? Kids are always on board 110%, which is why we need to make the most of events like this.
Yes. So if you are that teacher and you're like, you know what, I'm going to drag Book Week out and I'm going to do, as we would say in the business world, a pre-launch into Book Week. And the week before, 2 weeks before, you're building up to the grand finale, the celebration, go for it. If you want to dress up every day of Book Week, do it. Do not hold back. Be you, be your authentic self, and people will appreciate it. I think we need more quirky uniqueness in the world.
We do. And the kids are going to remember it. They're going to remember it.
That's what you want.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We will be back this time next week. But until then, you know the drill.
There are rainbows ahead, my friend.
And together, we're unstoppable.
Thanks for choosing to listen to Rainbow Skies for Teachers, the go-to show dedicated to teachers who want to make a big difference in education.
If you enjoyed the episode, please leave us a 5-star review or share the episode with a friend. Because together, we're
unstoppable.